going to open to Ephesians chapter 2. Open with me to Ephesians 2. There's two parts of this section. We're going to go from verse 1 through 8. And there's two very different things explained here. And we'll start with the first 3 verses. And you has he quickened, who were dead in trespasses and sins, where in the times past you walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now works in the children of disobedience, among whom also we had our conversation in times past in the lust of our flesh, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature the children of wrath, even as others. How do we feel? Does it feel all right? Ooh. Those 3 verses, it's whoa, right? It's quite the description there. But look, you has he quickened, who were dead, right? Who were dead in trespasses and sins. And this death is something that, we know what death is, right? Like we experience death, we see death, we hear about death, and it is to be disconnected from life, right? To be separated from life, right? Simply put. You pick the flower, and it is separated from its source of life. You put it in water for a few days, a week, if you buy your flowers at Frugal Flower, but eventually, right? But eventually it is disconnected from the source of life, and it will expire. We see this happening all around us. Right? We see it happening everywhere. The trees, right? Every fall there's an expression of it, right? The leaves fall from the trees and they're dead. And they crumple up and they're gone. Does anybody remember the leaves from last year? No, we forget about the leaves, right? We forget about they're gone. They're disconnected from us. This is our standing without Christ. This is actually where we are standing before Christ, is in death. It is our place. Like, this is our place. We are standing in death. And look, it goes on to explain it more. We are dead in our trespasses and our sins. Like, in our trespasses, and that means like a willful crossing of the line. Have you ever seen a sign on a fence or at a store or something, no trespassing? Do not do it. Don't trespass. Right? And you see this sign and you say, ooh, I didn't even think of that. That's a good idea. Right? That's not a bad idea. I wouldn't have thought of that without that sign. Right? Trespassing, it's like I know that I'm not supposed to cross this line, and by my act of my will, I cross the line. And I do it intentionally. That I am dead in my willful disobedience to God, but also in my sins. That in my attempt to be right, I miss, and I am wrong. Like that what I tried to do for God, or what I tried to do as a good person, really actually misses the mark of what is good and what is right. And I am dead in that state. And then wherein in times past, in verse 2, wherein in times past you walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now works in the children of disobedience. Right? We are walking according to the course of this world. Right? First, we are dead in sins. We are separated from life, separated from the life-giving source, and we are walking according to the course of this world. Right? Like this rhythm, and this rhythm that we are walking according to the course of this world. That there is a direction, there is an agenda, there is a way that it is turning. And it is conducted by somebody, right? It is conducted by somebody. Who is that? The prince of the power of the air, right? It says it right here. According to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now works in the children of disobedience. So that I would say, like, this is, the world is moving according to a rhythm, right? And it's like this rhythm is being produced by somebody. He is orchestrating it, and he is saying, yes, this, and he is initiating that, and he is initiating this, and he is leading it into a direction that he wants to. And I, without Christ, am under the spell, or I am mesmerized by the rhythm that I hear. And I kind of just go along with it. That I am disconnected from life and I look for something to lead me, something, and I find a rhythm. And the whole world is kind of just fallen in pace and step with the rhythm that is going, with the song that is happening. He's the director of it, right? He's the director of it. He is one. And He actually has power. He has authority, right? The prince of the power of the air. That He has right and He has might. Right? It's a good way to put it. The word is exousia. He has right and He has might. He has the authority and He has the ability to lead this orchestra and to conduct this rhythm. And we are moving along with it in lock and step, just bop, 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 and we go. He's working, right? The Spirit that is working and now works in the children of disobedience. That there is an action happening, there is activity happening. And I just wrote this, that His action is to draw me into the passivity of the course of this world. That His action and His activity is to lead me into listening and paying ear to the rhythm and the course of what is happening. And that I would, in passivity and in a way, just kind of follow it and just go with it. That I would be mesmerized and occupied with the rhythm and action of this cosmos. This system where He has right and He has might. That I would be settled into this place. I would be comfortable in this place. And I would almost say, what other option do I have? What else is there? All I can hear is this rhythm. But the trap is that this is the rhythm of death. That this is a rhythm that is leading me into something, and we read it throughout the book of Proverbs, and it says that the woman attracts the man in, but he doesn't know that death is there. That he doesn't know that the feet that have gone before him are down in death. But we continue to move in this way, living in separation from life, living in separation from the enlivening or the vivifying influence. Isn't that a fun word? The vivifying influence. The thing that can give life, the thing that supplies life, the thing that so freely is given to us. We are disconnected from it, and we move according to this. In verse 3, among whom also we had our conversation, right? Paul puts a little reminder in there. He says, by the way, saints, by the way, remember that you were among this crowd that was moving by this rhythm. And I think this is an important note we can kind of take as a side note and say it's important for us to remember. Because if we don't remember that we have been saved and by what great salvation we have been given, then we won't have compassion. We won't have a heart for lost people. We won't have any impulse to say, hey, wait, stop moving according to that rhythm. There is a better conductor. There's another way. Like Christ never intended for the church to be something that was just satisfied with our salvation so we could sit back and criticize a broken world. But He called us to be people who would be light and would be salt, and we would say, yes, I understand that you can hear this rhythm. I understand that you are mesmerized by it. I understand that you have been sucked into it, but I am here to tell you that there is hope. I once was lost, but I'm now found, right? John 9, I was blind, but now I see. Like, this is our testimony. This is the power of our message. That we are people who have compassion because we have found another rhythm. Because we have found another conductor. That we have found another source. And there is something new in our life. And we can't help. We can't take it in. We can't hold it in. We can't sit here with closed doors and just be grumpy people who say, hey, you should be doing what we're doing. Right? You're miserable. And they say, why are we miserable? You're miserable too. Why would we go in there? You're just grumpy and criticizing people. That doesn't look any better than what we're doing, right? But I think that's what Paul is saying here. He's saying, remember, saints, right? You had your conversation in this also. And what is our conversation? It's more than just a discourse, but it is something, a motivating action. The conversation is the life that I have that is sourced inwardly and expressed outwardly. Like, what is my conversation? But it's the way I live. It's how I think, and it's how that thinking produces activity in my life. This is where my conversation was. I got it all from this rhythm. And this rhythm that is disconnected from life, this is where I took my cues, this is where I got my purpose. We were there. And we were fulfilling the desires of the flesh and the mind. And we're by nature the children of wrath. By nature, the children of wrath. What did I have to do to become a child of wrath? Nothing. It is my condition. It's my standing in my birth. It's where I am. It's where I come. And I am by nature this way. By our birth, by default, we don't have to do anything to find ourselves in this standing or in this state. But we are separated from grace. We are divided from life. Intentionally crossing the line and missing the mark of right. I am mesmerized by the rhythm produced by a conductor who knows how to play on his right, and he knows how to play on my wrong. You know how music moves you? Right? Like we were moved by music today, weren't we? We lifted our hands and maybe we were a little broken and we were moved some way by music. Do you think that's coincidental? But there is a conductor and he is plucking the strings based on his right and your wrong. And he likes to manipulate what did happen or what you did wrong. And he likes to use that to keep you mesmerized into this rhythm where you say, this is the best I have. This is all I can do. I'll just keep marching. Alright? What a discouraging place, actually. Right? I am submitted to his action and stuck in death, motivated by it and operating by it. I am operating out of a disease, actually, where it says operating according to the lust of the flesh. That actually it's a disease. It's a function, like the lust is something that sprouts out of disease. Isn't that interesting? That actually my motivation and my conduct is coming from some place that is diseased. And this is how I am moving. And we can read these 3 verses and say, yep, got me, right? Sums me up. Okay, thank you, right? Thanks for the encouragement. I'll just keep moving with this rhythm. I'll keep